Worse than that, they're massacred. And we need the community's help identifying who killed these three young white men. It's a Friday night. What could be more wholesome than meeting up with two of your best buddies to go catfishing? And it's called night fishing in this part of the world. These three men all lived in Frostproof. Let me tell you who they are. Brandon Rollins, Kevin Springfield, and Damon Tillman. Now, they're victims, and according to Marcy's law, you're not supposed to release their names. However, we got permission of the family to release their names because we want the community to know who they are and to know that they were viciously murdered and to know that we need their help. Here's what occurred. They were to show up here in two separate vehicles. So Damon Tillman in his red pickup truck apparently arrived here first. What I give you is certainly conjecture and all subject to change. This is just what we see from the crime scene, and most of that we're going to protect. But it appears that Damon showed up first, and he was murdered. And it appears that while the suspects, and we certainly believe there's more than one, were in the process of murdering Damon, that Brandon and Kevin showed up in a white pickup truck. And they were shot up and ultimately murdered. But here's what the murderers didn't count on. That one of our victims, Brandon Rollins, was able to call his father and say, help. His father, who was home in bed asleep, heard the call from his son, knew where they were fishing, jumped up, got dressed, drove here immediately. He's about 10 minutes away in the Frostproof community. When he arrived, he saw this horrific scene of where all these young men had been shot up. In Brandon's father's excitement to run to and help his son, he forgot his cell phone at home. So now he's out in the middle, as you can see, of no place without any communications. So he hopped back in his vehicle and went to Sunray, which is on Highway 27, ran into the convenience store. They all know each other in this area. Said, my son needs help. 17-year-old young lady who's the daughter of the convenience store attendant at that time jumps in the vehicle with Brandon's father, and they come back to the scene. What the murderers also didn't count on is Brandon had the opportunity to talk to his dad before he died. So EMS, fire, and sheriff's office are notified, and ultimately, by the time EMS and fire arrived, that Brandon had succumbed to his injuries as well. We're holding most of the information very close to the chest, but it's important for you to know and for the community to be as outraged as we are. These folks appear to be beaten and shot. Did you hear me? Beaten and shot. We are seeking leads. We need help so that we can solve this crime sooner rather than later, because there are one or more, and we suspect more than one, murderer that killed 3 people in a little country community, a very safe, very quiet, quaint, very quiet community, murdered them while they were on their way to go catfishing last night at about 10 o'clock in the evening. So please, call us. We usually wait a few days before we put out the first reward offer. But we're offering today $5,000. $5,000. You don't have to get involved in, don't have to testify in court. All you have to do is call Crime Stoppers, 1-800-226-TIPS, and say, I have some information. And if your information leads to the arrest, simply the arrest, you get $5,000 cash money. But the victims, their parents, and their families deserve for us to solve this sooner rather than later. This is a horrific scene. I've been to a lot of murder scenes in my life, and this ranks among the worst I've been to. You can ask questions. I'm probably not going to tell you any more than I have, but give it your best shot if you're curious.
Do you have the ages of the three victims?
I do. Brandon Rollins is 27, Damian Tillman is 23, and Kevin Springfield is 30. I'm told that they have been best buddies for years, that they do a lot of social interaction together, and they're all really good friends and have been.
When Brandon's father got out here, was he still alive at that time?
He was still alive. Brandon had the opportunity to speak with his father just before he passed away.
Did he give his father any information about who may have been responsible for this?
The information that Brandon told his father, we're not releasing at this time.
Do you believe that the people responsible are known to the victims?
Have no idea at this point in the investigation. That's total speculation as to whether or not they knew them or not. But our intuitiveness tells us you don't just stumble upon somebody out here. This is a dirt road, a clay dirt road, way out in the middle of what we call God's country, on the way to a nice little fishing lake. It's not like there's a lot of people around here. As you can see, it's cow pastures and lakes. All right? We appreciate you helping us get this information out. We're going to find who did this, and we're going to put them in jail and hold them accountable. But you can make this happen sooner rather than later. And after all, think about it. This is someone's sons, brothers, and we deserve to find these people and lock them up before they decide to kill someone else. And at this point in time, what do they have to lose? They've already killed 3. Thank you very much.
We have been talking about the possibility of airborne transmission and aerosol transmission as one of the modes of transmission of COVID-19. We're also looking at the possible role of airborne transmission